Joining us now on the show is Stacie René, a motivational strategy speaker and mindset life coach. As we're into the warmer seasons of the year, we've had a mix of some beautiful weather and a little bit more of that typical spring weather. But regardless, people are getting back outside. Big events have started to come back in our local area and throughout the state of Michigan. People are getting excited for the warmth and the sun of the summer season. This is a great time to change your mindset and live a more positive lifestyle. Stacie, thanks for joining us today to talk about this.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure, and always enjoy talking about your mindset and, how we can make a difference every day.
Yeah, it's a good time to do that too, because we know that seasonal affective disorder is very much a real thing. It very much affects people of all different shapes and sizes and lifestyles, and especially in in the state like Michigan, where from the fall season all the way through the early parts of spring, it's kind of a mixed bag between being some sunny days outside, but they're really cool, so you're staying inside, to being really gloomy and gray and cloudy and rainy, and that can really affect people's mood and their motivation. Then all of a sudden there's this switch. Sometime it's in late March, sometimes it's in late May. We're in the middle of that right now, where it's nice and sunny outside, the weather is beautiful, people are getting back out and being social. So how big of an impact can this time of the year be on making that switch to living a more positive lifestyle?
It can really be huge. That's why they call it spring fever. I mean, spring fever is not just because, the changing season. It's because we do get more sunshine and we do get more of that vitamin D, the warm weather, and you always feel good. And during the winter months, you'd be surprised, like, what's wrong with me? I don't understand. Well, when you're living in that constant rain and you don't have that sun shining, beaming down on you, it does do something to your mindset, how you feel about things, how you're starting your day. And I've said this before, one positive thought in the morning can change your whole day, and that is seriously so true. If you have something that triggers you, you're going to go south. So it's just a matter of, how do you want to start your day? How are you going to start it, whether the sun is out or whether it's not? I'm big into mantras. Have your mantra ready. And if you really feel kind of funky in the morning, then just have a cup of coffee, take a few moments for yourself, and think about all the things that you're grateful for. So the sunshine can help, and it does psychologically do something for you, but you are in control of your mindset. So you have to start it off right. How do you want to start your day? Have a great mantra. So that's kind of my tips for no matter what season it is or what you're, going to be going through, even if it's the winter. How are you going to feel about it?
And the framing of how you approach your day is also so important. That's a big part of that transition from, the pitfalls of living a life of, a little bit less positivity, or finding yourself falling into those habits that happen. It's natural. It's part of life, where you're feeling less motivated or you're feeling a little bit down on yourself. The way you frame things is so important. There's a big difference between, I'll take an example from my life, saying, oh, I got so much work to do today. I've got 3 guest slots open the rest of this week on the Megacast that haven't been filled yet. I'm so stressed out about that, as opposed to going about it saying, hey, look, all I got to do today is I got to get ready for the show this morning. I got to book just tomorrow. I'm not going to think about the rest of the week. I just got to book that one slot that's open tomorrow. And then beyond that, it's a beautiful day outside. I can take a step outside while I wait for some of those emails to come back in, and all of a sudden it goes from feeling like a gloomy and stressful day to feeling like something that's kind of light work. I can do that. Framing is so important.
You made my day. I love that, because that just fills your soul of happiness. And just hearing how you started that conversation off, or, like, let me give you an example, and you could just hear the tone from an outsider's perspective. So if I'm feeling and hearing what you just transitioned your mindset to, I can darn well tell you, anyone that you come in contact with is going to feel that same thing. If you're giving off that energy, Tyler, and what you just described is everybody's life, everybody's morning, or not like everybody, but the majority of people. And I felt the shift in even you talking about it. And it was almost like a relief on my part to hear, yeah, you've got this. It's going to be okay. And you do have some slots to fill, and anyone that cancels or doesn't show up, you know what? It was not their time to shine. It was not their time to do your interview, and maybe they need to go on another day because who knows what would have happened. So look at it as a blessing in disguise that right, they weren't on today. It was tough for them to get there, and you just move on. And your description of that is beautiful. So thank you for sharing that.
I
And
appreciate that.
Tyler,
We're
a lot
joined
of
by
things
Stacie
too is
René, motivational.
yeah.
Please go.
So a lot of things too is the framing of the words. You know how many people wish that they could go get their daughters or their sons or somebody from school, and maybe they had issues getting pregnant. So if you're looking at, oh, I have to get my children from school, or I have to get a job, or I have to go to work every day. Do you know how many people in your shoes would love to go to a job, pick up their kids, go to the grocery store? There's a lot of people, and the industry that I'm in, I can tell you right now, I have seen it all. I have listened to the heartaches and the souls crying because they wish that they could just get up out of bed, but they can't, or they wish that they could do so many things that we take for granted. And I don't think that anyone has that unless they get a slap in the face of reality. And so change your verbiage to, hey, I get to pick up my kids from school today. I get to go to a job. I'm loving it. I am loving that I get to do all these things because you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. You're making that decision. So make the verbiage positive. It will change your thinking for the rest of your day. And I will guarantee whatever you are doing, you will be more successful and you will have more, as I like to say, ROI, return on investment, of whatever you put your mindset to for that day, for that goal, and for the outcome of the future. So being in the present, being appreciative, and making a future better for yourself and everybody around you. If that makes sense.
You can get in contact with Stacie and find more information and motivational strategies by visiting stacierenee.com. You can also find her on various social media. You'll find her on Facebook at Stacie René, on Twitter at Mrs. Michigan, and on Instagram at StacieRenee_official. All of that is linked on her website, stacierenee.com. As we go back to kind of the weather theme here with motivation and this time of the year, spring is a time of change in nature, and we are a part of nature ourselves. And so embracing change or framing, again, it goes back to framing changes in your life, especially this time of the year. It can be tough for a lot of people to go through those changes. I know, for example, that it can be. I'm going through one right now. A couple weeks ago, I was in the hospital, and because of medical reasons, I'm not going to be able to drive for a while under state law until I'm cleared by my doctors to do so safely. And so it's causing a lot of different changes in my life. I'm doing the show from home. I'm working from home now. I'm not getting out as freely as I would before. If I need to go somewhere, I need to figure out a way to get from point A to point Z. And you can look at that as a point of stress, or you can look at it from other angles too and decide how it can be a positive in your life. For me, I look at it from the perspective of I needed to be a more social person. I do tend to close myself off at certain times and not be as social and not force myself to maintain those lines of communication, whether it's with friends or with family. This situation's forcing me to do that because otherwise I'm stuck in here all day. And as lovely as the ambiance is here on this NBA draft lottery day, I got to get out and see some other people because, look, you people at home spend an hour with me a day. I spend 24 hours a day with myself. I need someone else there. So change is inevitable, but it's also realistically going to be tough for a lot of people in some situations. So how do you approach that, Stacie, from a motivational standpoint? Because for some people, those are going to be small changes that happen here and there. And for others, this time of the year comes with big changes too, especially for those parents as their kids are finishing up school and maybe going off into college or the career path.
Right. And there's a couple things in what you said that I can, elaborate on is first, I hope that what you went through, that you are healing. And I'm really proud that you are just working from home and doing what you need to do to make it all work. in a couple of scenarios with that situation, you also find out who your true friends are. You find out who people are the truth when you are in situations like this. So we are faced with unfortunate circumstances sometimes for a reason. As much as we don't want to hear that, or oh, it could just be a fluke. Well, no, sometimes we need that weeding out process, and it sheds a lot of turbulence that you don't need in your life. And you also find out who is there for you and who is not. Um, but the outlook of what you're going through, a lot of other people go through that same thing. And we also teach ourselves that reaching out and asking for help and asking that it's okay. People love and enjoy, and it makes them feel good knowing that they can help you when you really need it. So don't shut them off from that. And don't, if they offer to do something, say, no, 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 I'm fine. I'm fine. You know what? Don't do that to them, because they want to help. They want to be a resource to you. And it also fills your soul as much as theirs. And as far as, if you are at home for quite a while and maybe you can't get out and you are feeling secluded, there is no shame in just sending someone a text and saying, hey, I just want you to know I'm thinking about you, and, hope you're doing well. And, sometimes that text out of the blue also is a great conversational starter, and letting them know that you're thinking about them. And so that also helps you, because you're feeling like, oh, it makes you feel like you're still being able to do some socializing or picking the phone up and calling someone out of the blue. I know I often give challenges to people that once a day for 30 days, pick someone new and send a text out to them. And I recently did that. And little did I know, that day before, one of my old roommates, her mom ended up in the ER. And she's like, you have no idea how much I needed that text. And because of that, I am a support system for her. She needed the support and didn't even think about asking, but I gave it to her. And I've sent her text messages. How are you? What can I do? I've taken some food up to her. And it kind of also rekindled the friendship that we kind of dwindled off getting older. And so there's so many doors and so many avenues. And to also keep yourself going and motivated is, go outside, take your shoes off, stand on the ground, and just observe and enjoy nature. There's something magical and makes you feel good by just getting outside and taking your shoes off and leaving your phone. Do that for 10-15 minutes. It's something called grounding, and you will feel better. So those are a couple of tips. And if you can't get outside, if it's rainy, they do have those sun lamps. There is something to be said about taking that sun lamp that you just plug in. It gives off the effects of the sun, and sitting in front of that with a cup of coffee in the morning for 10 minutes. That is also your time. It's also your time to think about all the accomplishments that you want to make. Set 3 goals for the day. Say to yourself 3 things that you're grateful for. So there are ways around this spring fever and getting yourself out of a funk, and especially for those kids who are going into the summer months because they're not going to be around their friends all the time. Plan activities. Again, it's going to be a change. It's going to be a challenge, but we are a village of moms, of dads, of stepmoms, stepdads, whatever you want to call it. We are here as a village to help each other. Plan things for your kids, because if you think that they want to just sit home and do nothing, even though they say it might be fun for the first week or two, but they need that socialization. They need to get out. Get them into once a week sports. At least they're getting out once a week. If you can get them into something else, have maybe your house be a house that you can work from home, if that's even possible for you, on a Wednesday, and maybe have their friends over on a Wednesday. I mean, there's endless ideas that we really truly can do, but don't ever disconnect it, because it's really hard getting back into that. That was a lot right there.
Yeah, but it's good point. It's a good point too, because so much of your own motivation can be found in those relationships you have with other people. Like you said, when you had reached out to this friend of yours, you maybe lost communication, or it had been lost in time, as tends to happen. Things happen, life happens, and relationships drift. But you happen to reach out, and it just happened to be the right time, the right circumstance, where they needed somebody in their support system that maybe wasn't there at that time. And that also reflects on whatever changes somebody else may be going through in their life or challenges they're facing day to day. Just having that escape of someone that you know, somebody that you trust, somebody that you appreciate in your life can really have a big impact on changing your mindset, your worldview in that moment. And so maintaining that socialization, especially this time of the year where people are more likely to be motivated to go out and to spend time with other people, to get outside and make some of those memories. This is a really important time of the year to make that effort, especially if it's something that you're struggling with or you have been struggling with, making that effort to get out and about, meet some new people, and reconnect with people that have been in your life before.
That is so true. So true. And, and if financial is a concern of yours, you can go outside. Going outside to a park is free. It's complimentary. There are so many things. I know the West Bloomfield Parks and Recs, they have, concerts in the park. Go to those things. That doesn't really cost anything. So there are resources out there. It's just a matter of, tapping into some events and seeing what's out there. But again, make it something fun. Like maybe your family has family night once a week and it gets you out somewhere and go walk around, just do something different. It's just endless. Play a game. It could be a silly game and make things up. When you're in the car, I know that the couple times with my daughter and I, and we're just having a long drive, and all of a sudden I'll go like this to her. I'm like, hey, I spy a mailbox. And she'll be like, what's happening? And it's just about making fun. And then I'll be like, hey, I spy a red car. So we just have fun with it. And that doesn't cost any money. And it turns out to be a lot of laughs. And I'm like, no, we already said that. And it's just about making humor. And here's the thing is we all could use a little pick-me-up. We all don't know what's really going on behind closed doors. Who needs that little extra ray of sunshine or that little, like I said, text message of, hey, how are you? Or I'm just thinking of you with a funny emoji. And just that personal text goes a very long way, even if you have not talked to them in a year, 2 years. Sometimes we need that door. And if you all of a sudden have someone's name pop in your head, that is your gateway to just send a message. There is a reason why that name popped in your head. So take initiative. Also, the best way to get yourself out of a funkiness is to just make someone else happy, because it does shine through and it does come through on your own side of knowing that you made a difference. And when they do say fake it till you make it, some people like that term, some people don't, but I'm a fan of it because if you're going to sit there and think negative all day, then you're going to get more negative. If you're going to be like, you know what, I may feel like crap, but I'm like, it's a great day, I'm happy, let's just do this. It does internalize and it does start to shift your thoughts and put yourself in a different place. So, in the mornings, find a mantra. I was up at 5 this morning and I had to be at a location at 6:15 this morning. And as I was leaving the building, I'm like, you know what? I just want to tell you all, you're all asses. And they look at me and I'm like, you are awesome, successful, and smart. And they all bursted out laughing. They're like, this is the way to start a day. And, so it just making the change in someone's mind at, so early in the morning, it made me change my mood, whether I had to get up so early or not. And they have laughed. They're like, could you come in every morning? I said, no, this is way too early, but you can have it. But it did make me feel extremely good. And for the rest of the day, they're going to be calling everybody an ASS. And then one decided to say, she's like, well, I'm sexy too. So she decided to put an extra S and say air. So we just had a fun morning and really enjoyed the early rise of what our success was going to be for the day. Hopefully that little tidbit will help you.
Yeah, hopefully it will help people with that motivation, that change to a little bit more positive can happen one step at a time and still have a very big impact. Stacie, thank you so much for your advice.
Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure. And don't forget, your mindset is what you want to be, who you want to be, and what you want in the next future. You've got this. Take control.